Hey. Hi, everybody.
Hey, it's Mr. Bill Bridges. How you doing there? What words have we from the Pancreator today?
Oh, the Pancreator is silent. You must be quiet to hear him, and we're talking.
But I'm constantly seeking him. I'm questing him. I'm always making noise. How would I ever hear him?
Yeah, threw me off there with my Twitch playing and my Discord playing.
No.
Hearing voices.
Ignore those heretical magic lantern shows and speak only truth, seek only truth, listen only to the Phantom of Truth. No, wait, Phantom of Truth, real truth. Hey, Phantom of Truth, welcome to join us in chat. Yeah, lots of NPCs. We're actually looking to talk today about your characters. Yes, your characters. So Bill and I have been talking about the character creation process and ways to clarify some of the questions people have had. I think it's coming together pretty well. But I've also had... I also made up a bunch of characters in this system. So what we thought we'd do is have you tell us about your older Fading Suns characters, or even the ones you're working on now, and we'll talk about cool ways to work them through the past system or work them through custom character creation. And yes, it is your turn to tell us about your characters. But anyway, before we do that, Bill's got some really cool stuff to inspire you.
Oh, yeah. So while you guys are thinking that up and typing it up in the chat, we're going to show off some art. We've got some new stuff to show off, including some page spreads from the layout that is in progress at this moment. Right there, some history chapter stuff. Get some charts of the timelines and the saints, the diaspora era. And here's some art. Oh, it's cyber surgery. Good Lord. Who would do that to themselves? Oh, my God. It's so sinful.
Nice.
Yeah, here's a cool character.
I recognize that guy with the goggles.
Here's looks like a Voldrak pirate guy here. Oh, we got another spread here. This is obviously that Saint Lexius there, the Saint of Nobles. We've got the noble section talking about the nobles, and you can see off to the side there's a nice little ribbon showing you what chapter you're in. And here's another guy, another noble. Got some panache there. Saint Doramos, the world architect. He's always a good one to...
And if you hear me typing, that's not me creating worlds. That's me being a troll in chat.
And here's the priests section of the society chapter. And some art sprinkled in. We talk about church policies and such. The Senecula. And it's a brother battle. So yeah, let's look there at some of the layouts so you guys can see it's happening. It'll be happening soon. St. Paulus, the traveler. The guy who flew the prophet around.
Wait, whoa. I was told St. Paulus had a soul. I see distinctly he's a ginger.
Now.
Oh, wait. Bill's a ginger. Wait. Anyway.
Here you see a recreation of an eyewitness account of a void kraken.
Pshaw, all lies, no such thing.
And here's a bunch of characters getting together at an inn. Gee, what a familiar process. Someone going to the library to check out some books or some research. That's the academia skill illustration, I believe. And here's a friendly neighbor coming to visit on your spaceship.
Nobody's bored when boarders come aboard.
Yep. And here we go, back again to the spread. So that's some new art and some new spreads. We'll let that cycle through as we talk here.
So I like the characters gathering in the tavern picture, but I try and keep PCs out of the tavern unless there's at least one alien, one psychic, and one heretic in the group.
They're taking the picture.
Yeah. All right, so Bill, tell us some of the tales from Ulysses Con. What kind of fun things went down? Tell us about the room parties, all the author signings you did.
Yeah, right. If only. Now, Ulysses Con was fun. There was a lot of good stuff, a lot of good panels, a lot of game going on. We did a special Heretical Musings with 3 of our authors. That should be available on YouTube, I believe, by now, or very soon, if not. And certainly on the Twitch channel, I think, to watch. So if you missed it, you're going to want to check that out. We talked a lot of the core book stuff, the writing of the nobles, the priests, and the merchant sections.
Yeah, it's interesting. Phantom of Truth says the book signings may happen in April. I mean, we knew we were launching the Kickstarter in a dangerous time. That was just at the start of the pandemic, but obviously we figured there'd be plenty of opportunities to by about now be meeting with people in person, pushing this at Gen Con and so forth.
Right. Well, you may have missed it, Andrew, and in case anybody else out there missed it, was announced at Ulysses Con is next year Ulysses Las Vegas convention, and that's what April refers to. It's going to be at the end of April at a very interesting hotel, which, oh my God, what was the name of that place? Robert, if you're there at all, poke in, or if you could put a link up to that. Very
when Chainsaw Gothic and I go to Vegas, it's got to be a pay by the hour place, so we're not going.
The Artisan Hotel, that's it. Very cool looking place, and it's going to be an all Ulysses con, all Ulysses games. Torg, Dark Eye, Myth will be out by then too, I hope. So all sorts of stuff, including lots of Fading Suns.
So apparently the Artisan Hotel is in the Phantom Truth's backyard. Chainsaw Gothic wants to know if Quarks will reopen.
That was down the street, I think, wasn't it, from the Artisan, where all the old Star Trek hotel stuff was? Well.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Always enjoy going to Vegas and not losing money gambling, instead rolling dice playing real games. Oh, wow. Cool link in chat. Thank you very much, Ulysses International. That looks very nice.
Yeah, so everybody get ready. I'm pretty sure next year by April, everything will be okay for a convention.
Don't jinx us, Bill.
No, the pancreator told me, so we'll be okay.
Quietly, he told you. Quietly.
Yes, exactly. In the silence.
All right. So Phantom of Truth did have the first character question. So Phantom of Truth wants to build a Ducados Jacobian agency double agent for the Imperial Eye with a side of telepathy. So obviously not going to need many points for that one. Hey, there's the factions link. Thank you very much. That's the Twitch factions link, not the YouTube factions link. So the YouTube.
Yeah, that was our talk over on the Ulysses Con with three of the authors, James Malachowski, Jacqueline Brick, and William Thrasher. Check it out if you missed it. So yeah, okay, the Ducados Jacobian double agent for the Imperial Eye, who's got some telepathy. In other words, the psychic path on the side.
So from which planet? Which planet? We'll let Phantom of Truth answer which planet he was from. And someone asked about cosplay. Of course I'll cosplay. I'm cosplaying as a promoter right now for a convention that will happen in some form later this year. So, I love Fading Sun cosplay because you can pretty much grab any crazy mash of stuff you want and go with it. While we wait for Phantom of Truth.
Edition Fading Suns with my hat right here.
Oh,
the old logo.
Yeah, I love the new logo. But
yeah, the new is great, but I don't have a hat with it yet. So we have that to wear it.
So it's very interesting. If you're going to go ahead and do paths, I mean, you take the noble right off the bat. There's already spying lines you can follow, and topping it off with psychic.
His upbringing is going to be noble because he's already chosen Ducados. That also sets his faction as Ducados. And so then he would go right to calling, and he said spy. Now, spy is a calling, and the nice thing about spies, you get to have a cover calling on top of that, which is, so you're in a sense have access to two different callings, the spy calling and the one you're trying to emulate in a sense. Now, the trick in here, of course, is the psyche, because getting psychic powers usually requires you spending at least one level with the psychic calling, which is an open calling anybody can have. There are ways you can get around that, though, with some perks and stuff. But generally, you need to do that just to awaken up the occult characteristic that you'll need. So, I mean, the thing is, you can be spies. That's one thing I want to emphasize, too, about those callings, is what they do is give you access to the special perks that are associated with that kind of activity. But you can be a spy without following the spy calling. That's all quite possible. You just don't necessarily have access to, say, the perk that gives you the rank of being a spy in a sense. So you can still be a deep covered Jacobian agent without necessarily following it as a calling. You can likewise be a noble lord without having the lord calling, in a sense. So you're not running a fief. You could be a duelist without having a duelist calling, and so on. The callings are just ways to get access to particular abilities that really help you do the sort of activities those callings are up to.
Hey, Bill, let's talk about the double agent side, because he talked about them being a deep cover Ducados agent, but it sounds like this is a deep cover Imperial Eye agent. So Ducados noble.
Well, which one is he really? A Ducados, or is he an Imperial Eye? Is he a Ducados pretending to be Imperial Eye, or is he Imperial Eye pretending to be a Ducados Jacobian? So either way, you could take the spy calling, and your cover is the spy calling for somebody else. So you might really be a Jacobian, but you're pretending to be an Imperial Eye spy, the Imperial Eye. Or you don't even need the calling again to do that. You just say that's what you're doing, and then you still have another cover calling, and you're just so. For instance, you might be you're Jacobian pretending to be an Imperial Eye, but the Imperial Eye guy is pretending to say be a Sybarite or a duelist or something else, and so on. Or you can even pretend to be a merchant too. You could pretend to be a banker or a tycoon, etc., etc., etc.
But can the character be a spy with a cover of spy?
Yes, you could choose spy as your cover calling. You're kind of not getting a full oomph out of it, but
you're getting a different.
Well, that way you could conceivably then buy rank in two different spy agencies, getting that perk twice. In a sense, you've got your rank in Jacobi, and then you've got the rank in Imperial Eye. In a sense, you're really a double agent.
And I'm
harmonizing. How dare you? Oh, geez, his name is Bob.
Ducados, James Ducados of the Starship Enterprise. No, wait a minute. Phantom of Truth, I'm sorry to say that my Twitch chat crashed, so I lost everything you said. I did see that you said the character was from Severus. So that can add some interesting areas too. There are a lot of backgrounds you can get from there. If you really want to be weird, then you get connections to a score bytes, but you're just going the psychic way.
Yeah, you could also get alien friend for a score byte, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to do psychic, you're going to need the psychic calling, because that will give you access to the perks, which is where you get the powers from. But it also allows you to unlock that occult characteristic. And then from that point on, even when you're not following the calling each level, you can devote some of your characteristic increases to that occult characteristic.
Rystar 96 says, always choose chef as your cover. Everyone eats. And I really wanted to make a rude South Park joke with that, but instead I'll just not say anything about Scientology. So
Ramon's Gilder, they're out in the faction book.
But you want to know who everyone distrusts? The Epicureans can poison your meal in a heartbeat. Bond, Chef Bond. Cook those olives before they go in the martini. I like that. All right, Rystar 96. I'm going to change your name to Ristar 96. And of course, Baccarat survived to this millennium, because of course it did. Nine. Well, that's what you're trying to get in Baccarat. So, yeah, I like the idea of Baccarat having survived. But Pai Gao has definitely survived for all you folks out there who play California games.
Psychic would be good at Blink, the game that we introduced earlier on in an illustrious journal. But we never gave the rules for it. We'll have to do that someday.
Chef Boyer Bond. Oh my God. Chainsaw God backing through it.
Embargoed.
So Rystar, it's not Rystar, sorry, Phantom of Truth. Let's talk a little bit about how you saw this character acting as a spy. I mean, obviously Mole is a major one, and that's something we're playing around with for espionage book. What kind of what sort of paths, skills, etc. do you want to see this kind of spy have? Embargo on. Yeah, next Chef Boyer Bond joke. 3 levels of bad pun deep on that one.
Yikes.
All right. Well, Phantom of Truth is going to type in more what should have happened with that particular Jacobian, and I'll wait for Twitch chat to crash on me again.
Yep.
Bill,
now, I'll certainly say that when you're getting into that deep level of espionage of moles and double agents and stuff, yeah, that you're getting into dangerous territory there, because then you got the GM and you got to figure out, well, what's going to happen if you're ever revealed, how we're able to twist and turn that around, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, Jacobians aren't the kind who necessarily appreciate being betrayed, but neither is anybody, I guess. I mean, certainly you want to watch out. You don't want to be screwing with the Kilroys too much, because Chowky Stride and all that.
I apologize for that. I forgot to kill my technology when I rushed into the house for this stream.
It's Salandra calling, telling you to shut up.
Don't give away secrets. Yes. So give me a minute to kill technology, which doesn't apparently want.
I'm hoping we're going to get around to another espionage book. Certainly planned on it sooner, but other stuff has been getting in the way. But until then, you got Spies and Revolutionaries book that will give you all sorts of information about a lot of the secret spy agencies everybody's up to, including a lot of cults and so on and so forth. There's certainly a lot of spies flooding over into Hargard now and into Voldrock space.
Well, that's an interesting point as well. Bill, let's say you wanted to make a Voldrock spy.
Yeah, that's one thing we haven't revealed a lot on the Voldrock spy agencies, and there may not be a lot of them. Their culture itself doesn't tend to have a need for that in the same kind of way. Although certainly, like the Retgold Nation would certainly have some. Magtaw also, because they'd have a lot of Kilroy types who are out looking to make sure nobody's muscling in on any of their kind of technological. I mean, they don't own technology in the same way as the League does, but they certainly want to make sure competition isn't out there stealing their own tricks and secrets. So, but it's just not considered an honorable thing for like a Drenjar or a Lackol or even a Zetol to do. Not to say they aren't there, but we haven't discussed them yet.
Chainsaw Gothic asks a good question. How tricky is it to use old rule books with the new Fading Suns rules? Are there conversion rules?
Oh, we have not done conversion rules yet. I'm hoping that somebody will take a look at that, a fan out there, once these books come out. Most things are very, very similar. Obviously, the core dice mechanic is the same, the way you put skills and characteristics together. And so on, some of the characteristics have changed a bit, but I think it's pretty obvious in most cases which one to substitute at a lot of the times. So for instance, if you see something like in an old book calling for you to roll calm, you might use intuition in that case. If it's passion, you might use will, and things like that. But overall, I think it's a pretty simple, one-to-one conversion sort of thing. Now, obviously, the difference is in the character creation. You're not using points and so on, but you kind of have to. We will eventually, hopefully, someone will help out there who's mathematically inclined figure out how much someone who spent, 65 experience points worth might convert over into levels. Is that third level, fourth level? I don't know. As I've said before, one of the reasons we do levels now is if you had to spend to raise your victory point cash, your bank's, that is, capacity, then that's all anybody would ever spend on that. They'd never go up in anything else because that's where all the action is. We have to even that progression out a bit more. So it's a lot more fairer to give you these little bumps that not only raise your bank, but also then give you characteristics and skills. So you're not having to choose all the time.
Now, there's some of the things I think are going to make direct one-to-one conversion rather tricky. Things like combat maneuvers. We had all these really freaky combat maneuvers you could buy in the first and second edition, but now we abstract them out a bit more.
Right. Well, you didn't buy them so much as hit a skill. You could then, use them and unlock them in a way. And rather than do that, we do have maneuvers still. But rather than I even went through a whole iteration, converted those over, but it was just too top heavy. It was crazy. They still worked if you wanted to do it that way, but once you bring in victory points and stuff, you just don't need to get into the kind of granularity we did with those kind of martial. Like, are you doing a heel strike versus a palm strike kind of thing?
Yeah, we'll save that for the Fading Suns card game where you play a Vorok 6-handed
with your Gra martial arts. Yeah, so a lot of that stuff wasn't as necessary. It was better to give them the ability to spend victory points to figure that stuff out. Oh, here we got him.
I love the name. I am an Asggal, not an Asggal. I am an Asggal. I'm trying to re-envision my Messeri changed, who was blended with Ganok DNA in an attempt to make her immune to symbiote affection. Oh, how did she smell? But performed privateer operations for the Kados in exchange for being genetically spliced. All right, Bill.
Well, the rules for the changed and for the Ganok are actually given in the factions book. Now, we did not present a changed power that represents the Ganok birthright, but you could just convert that over into being a changed perk and have that in your backstory is, they monkeyed with Ganok DNA and gave you that power. And as for privateer operations for the Dakados, are you a pirate? Is that your calling? Now, being changed does require spending at least a level or so with that as a calling. It doesn't require it. You do have, during the character creation process, there are points in which you get some perks that you can spend on anything you want. So you could get that perk, the symbiote, the Ganok birthright of immunity to symbiotism, and without having to actually take the changed open calling, but could take that too. And then you could take pirate as your calling to represent the privateer operations. That is very interesting.
All right.
Messeri angle. So you're a noble minor house Messeri who's got that perk, probably not necessarily done through the calling and the pop calling. Okay. You're fun at court.
All right, but Bill, how do you handle the smell?
Well, that would be the question. If you wanted that in a sense as a free perk, you could take an affliction to offset it, being that, oops, you accidentally got the Ganok smell. Also, they couldn't get the DNA right without bringing that along with it. So you've got the birthright, the Ganoks, that they stink.
Much perfume. Yeah, that was always the fun part of Ganok drawings, the cigars chewed down, cover up their own stench.
Think of just using the immunity perk since it's sort of broad and using the free perk at the end of creation to take it. Could do that. Could do that too. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the whole thing. The whole system's there to plug in different levels and so on, especially if you use the custom method also. So, yeah.
And I am an Asggal adds a comment about much perfume. And that's something I've been playing around with as well, especially for Dakados. With Severus, the jungle planet, got all these incredible opportunities for scents.
Right.
We've never really dealt with perfumes. Fashion itself, we often just talk about how you can have this complete agglomeration of thousands of years of fashion and slap it all together and make something out of it, like a tube top with a giant bustled dress or mohawks and tuxedos, whatever you want to do. And it ends up being true in a lot of the areas of the game. Energy is something that came up in the Facebook group recently. Every type of way humans have made energy is being used somewhere in the fading suns. So saying this is how energy is done has always been a problem. Now, how players interact with it, interface with it, we've made that a plug and play, relatively easy to do because the people shouldn't understand how to do it. Engineers want people to have no clue. They just plug in and they're good. Only engineers should understand it. And even engineers, when they come to a new planet, have no idea. Is it steam here? Is it hydro there? Is it geothermal here? Is it fusion there? So, but I mean, the same is true for fashion. Any kind of bizarre fashions you want to have mixed up, even a first edition Fading Suns cap is appropriate in certain situations. Always appropriate. All right, fine. It's always appropriate. Oh, Chainsaw Gothic, you are looking for a permanent ban from this channel. At least you didn't make Voldrock Axe body spray. I knew that was coming.
Just as the can opener comes up on the art. Good timing.
Let's see. I've already done Ristar, Rystar. I haven't done Rystar yet. Rystar 96 says on some planets, Voldrock Axe body spray is an aphrodisiac. On others, it's a battle cry. No, there's none where it's an aphrodisiac. Sorry.
Embargoed again. Jeez. Oh well. You know, it's one thing. I'm hoping we'll
you're lucky we like you.
We're going to explore more too a bit when we get into some books that where fashion and stuff is a little more appropriate and so on. That it can affect. You know, it can be deliberately designed to affect, influence contests and so on. So it shouldn't just be a neutral thing. I mean, there might be some fashions that in certain situations, like once when you enter a room, might give you, favorability on an influence roll and so on. So
and I've always enjoyed fashion in games where it directly impacted the play. So, for instance, the whole idea of baggy clothes being street fashion for so long was a great way to hide weapons and other things you didn't want people to see. If everyone's pants were falling down, you didn't know whose were filled with weapons and whose weren't. Right. On the other hand, if everyone's wearing skin tight, it makes for a wonderful, fun party. But where are you hiding your rapier? So, yeah, I mean, fashion can be fun from an art standpoint and from a GMing standpoint, just on weird things to do with the players. And I've had players who tried to be the fashion trendsetter just to help with hiding their their cybernetics and the like. So, always cool ways to.
I just realized there's a newer version of that voice crack, and I forgot to put it up in the folder where the eye glistens a bit more and pops out. I should have put that up. Darn it. Maybe next time. Pop that one up so we can see the better version. Very cool. So,
yeah, the PCs in that tavern need to be more terrifying.
Oh, they're friendly. They're the ones you want to hire. Come on. Can't look too terrifying except to their enemies, but they're looking for a job. So
I made the joke in the Facebook group earlier, but frankly, if peasants aren't chasing your PCs with torches and pitchforks, you're doing something wrong or too right. Like wearing that colonist uniform to the rebellious planet. Oh, yeah. Who would have made that mistake, Rystar? Yeah.
Well, it depends on the character. Some guys have the perk. All the peasants love them.
Chainsaw Gothic at Rystar 96. He does this every unification day. Let's have some cowboys in space.
Uh-huh.
But
yeah.
All right.
So
go ahead, Bill.
No. I don't know what to say at this point. I had a thought on character creation, and then it just disappeared on me. Pancreas took it away.
All right. I know that a lot of other veteran players have been talking about playing more of the minor house characters, Thana and so forth. Any special advice for people looking to create them from the minor houses?
Hey, no, just get the factions book. That's where all they are.
Chainsaw Gothic asks, hey, can I ask a gameplay question? And frankly, Chainsaw, for those puns, I actually don't know if you can. But give it a try.
You can ask it, whether we'll answer it. Who knows?
Akums Razors asks, what calling would one use for a master craftsman, low tech, like a swordsmith?
Well, there's not a lot of callings for that, but you could certainly represent that with the craft skill and any of the capabilities, like the blacksmith capability. Most player character types aren't ones who are going to have a calling as blacksmith. You could certainly say that's part of your character background, but you're going to want to choose you could just use what's the amateur calling, which is meant very specifically to be a catch-all kind of calling where you kind of make your own idea of what's going on. So I would probably just go with amateur if you're using that.
Okay. Chainsaw Gothic asked a very interesting question. This is for chat and the devs, and thankfully Admiral Nelson was in this stream earlier, so hopefully he's still around to comment on this. When you play in realms like Roll20, do you show the VPs and WPs on screen, or do you leave them behind the screen? Are they hidden for the GMs? Do you actually shuffle the physical coins around?
That really depends on what the GM, how he wants to run it with his NPCs. As far as the players go, I think they should be obviously showing their banks and stuff to everybody, and the troop coffer and so on should be obvious. Whether the GM wants that to be as obvious or not, that's really up to him. Only his headliner NPCs are actually going to have banks with their own WPs. All the other types of NPCs, the agents and the extras, are pretty much just going to be using what's in their caches each turn to turn, although they do get surges they can spend to get a bunch of those for their turn if they really need it. But I'd say go ahead and use it in the open right now. I don't see... it's really just down to how much mystery does he want players to know about these headliners and how much can they anticipate. Obviously they look at a headliner and go, oh, that's a lot of VPs in the back. We're not going to take him on. Might not want to scare him away that way. You might want to hide it.
Yeah. Admiral Nelson has been doing more of the Roll20 FS, and I'd love for Admiral Nelson to weigh in on this one. What was I about to say? I'm an Asggal's question just knocked out of my head, so I'll blame that and not my own having been on the road all day long.
Someone does ask about the Wandostus taking the child of Diana, which is an Oblin only perk, but some of these guys are Tupa, which are the half Oblin, half human. That's a call, I think, between you and the game master. I don't think there's a reason to specifically forbid it. There's certainly possible certain Tupa to be a little more Oblin and have access to that sort of thing. Now, the only thing about the child of Diana is it doesn't work on humans in the same way as it does with Oblin. You're kind of holy among the Oblin, but humans, it really all depends. You might really think, oh, that's cool. Others might go, oh, you're a freak. Who knows? It's going to vary. More of an Ukari Hatoro Hanzo style character. Okay, making those great swords. At this point, I would probably go with amateur, but you can look through anything. Anything that's going to get you the craft skills and capabilities, which is what you're going to need to make the sword. But if you want to make really, really good swords, I didn't explore that a lot. It's really more just having a high skill and just high skill in crafts and blacksmithing, so you don't have a unfavorability on the road. And so building you could also consider being a weaponsmith. They don't just make guns and energy weapons; they do also make swords and stuff too. So if you're wanting to be have some guys backing you, and those are usually families too, so it's certainly possible to imagine an Ikari family that hands down these methods of making swords. Or for Ikari, it'd be probably more like knives, big long knives that they use in the dark. With that special little channel for the poisons. Yeah. What's the why am I blanking on the name of the Ukari fighting style, the knife fighting?
Oh, if you hadn't said that, I wouldn't have blanked on it too. Wow.
Because it's in the book. It's in the book, and I'm blanking on it.
Thank you, Proxy. Yes.
Proxy, there we go. Yay, that's it.
No, not Jock's Boxing. We're talking about the knife
boxing, the hand-to-hand one. Praxis, the knife fighting. Jock's Kaivan is the martial art, but Craxy's the knife fighting. Yeah. There you go.
Both of them are very honorable, involve no low blows. Or backstabbing.
None of that is true whatsoever. That's why the Scravers like it too.
Yep.
And the muster.
A no prize! That takes us back. Excelsior! We got a Fading Suns version of Excelsior. Pancrator! No, that sounds awful. Every blow is a low blow in the dark, said the Gannick.
Oh, that's true.
So therefore, no blow is a low blow.
Not really a Gannick, a faux Gannick.
I don't know. Gannick versus a Voldruk, every blow's a low blow. But back to the good tavern theme from before.
Yeah, I'm really hoping these character books come out soon. I know that as we're showing you these spreads, the stuff is being worked on out soon. Because then we could sit here point by point and make a character with you guys. But I don't want to do that until you guys can follow along with a really cool looking PDF or book. But we'll get to that. We'll make some characters.
Yep.
Characters.
Yep. Every dwarf
was the play kit. That was one of the options in the Kickstarter. Includes the dramatis personae that Andrew did. These are all a bunch of characters ranging from first level to fifth up to ninth level. That gives you a whole range of who's who. You can use those as pre-gens or as headliner NPCs.
All right, Chainsaw Gothic, I want chat to answer this one. Speaking of Marvel, if you could adapt any Jack Kirby comic to Fading Suns, which one would you choose? Give me Marvel, DC. He did stuff with Atlas. Who else did he do stuff with?
Well, he did stuff with Pacific Comics.
Pacific, yeah.
He did DC way back in the day, and he pretty much was a lot of stuff in the 50s. So I'd have to say his Monster Comics, of course.
Oh, man, Fang Fu! Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, to his 2001, his one adaptation, too, that went through like 9 issues or so, and that introduced Machine Man.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah. Fing Fang Foom. All right, so I've got the correct answer, Chainsaw Gothic, but I'm going to see if anyone else in chat can tell you what it is. There is a correct answer to this question.
Interesting.
So I'm going to see if New Gods is kind of an obvious one. I will agree. And would be a lot of fun for it. New Gods and Lost Worlds would be the perfect name for it.
Oh, hold on. Let me go find something.
But I'm going to try and get a JPEG to share to show the one that would be best.
I'd show off my Dark Side van.
I
drove around in a van. Did you know that? Here's proof. Oh boy, Captain 3D. There was Captain Victory. Was it Captain 3D? I knew there was a 3D guy. Then there was that was part of the Pacific Comics, right? Commandy. There you go. Commandy would fit for a world, a lost world that's been locked up for a while. Dark Side Van Race.
And again, the Spidey van too.
Erica TV van.
Commandy, yes, the Ape Boy, not Jumanji, which was filmed right down the street from me. I was wearing the hat from the studio where that was made all weekend. Captain 3D. That's what I don't know. Here. The Monster Box.
Mother Box. Going to ping in a minute.
And how many of you 70s kids raced the Captain America van, the Spider-Man van, and the Evel Knievel van against each other?
Make weird noises off to the side there. That's my love for Kirby.
All right, well, I'm going to show you all now the correct answer.
But obviously died before Fading Suns.
I'm going to show the correct answer to Chainsaw Gothic's question.
Uh-oh. What's that going to be? Huh. Yes, and it is.
I put it in chat. You gotta wait for it to show up in chat. Whoa! Why did the second?
Some asterisks. Evel Knievel. That's why
chat, Bill?
why I wasn't allowed to have a bike when I was a kid. Damn him! My dad was convinced I would do.
You can't see the URL. Nope. So I'm seeing my chat.
It came up as it's asterisks.
What? It's images.app.google. All right, thank you, Ulysses International.
No not words.
I have no idea why this was a not word, and I've got to recopy the correct one because I went and copied a second one, and the correct answer went away. So let's try this one more time for the band.
Okay.
I've actually never typed anything in a Twitch chat that got banned before. That's very strange. All right, did it come through now?
Yeah, it came through now. Young romance.
I want your man.
Okay.
Yeah, Kirby did this whole line of romance novels. It's just
actually created that genre. Actually, he and Joe Simon, they did a lot of those romance comics in the 50s, and he's completely forgotten all about that stuff.
Show you another of my favorites.
Yes, Hellbits of Apocalypse.
Yeah, no, I would say that New Gods is the obvious one to do Fading Sun style. Talk about changed. I mean, that's exactly what the church fears of the changed.
Yes.
All right. I gave you another one of his greats.
Hot Rod Crowd.
Hot Rod Crowd.
The 50s.
Hey, Admiral Nelson, you in chat? Someone had a question about Roll20. Just type out something. Say Kirby lives in chat, and we'll know you live.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get more knowing on all that stuff sometime soon. I'll try to run a game.
Yep. Hey, Chainsaw Gothic, when you're moving along with Admiral Nelson, hurrah! So the question was your suggestion on how to handle weird points and WP and VP on Roll20 as the GM. Would you hide or show? Obviously, we're going to make the players show theirs. What do you suggest for the GM?
Yeah, I think it's just the play style, but, you know.
Bill just likes the coins. He just wants to use the coins. That's all there is to it. He's not even going to track him in Roll20. There's your definitive answer.
Now, we need to get some sort of, plug in there to be able to handle those things where it's automatic.
Yeah, it is. I was talking about this with some other people at Roll20. That is going to be the difficult thing to handle with your character sheet for Fading Suns. But
yeah, but we can try to get some stuff up there on it. And there's other systems like Fantasy Encounters that everybody working on right now. And hopefully we'll have some of that stuff as custom to where it'll automatically show up in your bank when you make a roll, showing you how many victory points you get and so on.
Chainsaw Gothic, have you not interacted with Admiral Nelson before? He's been doing the FS Roll20 character sheet. Definitely the person to talk to on Roll20. We've got someone else who's... Oh, really? Is that just needs a pro count? Admiral Nelson says, that I could implement coffers and vaults, etc., but unfortunately this would require people to pay for pro accounts. Oh, to use them, I see.
Yeah,
you could implement them, and then we would all...
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, Chainsaw, reach out to Admiral Nelson either here or in the Discord. Matter of fact, the Discord is probably the place for this conversation. Chainsaw, are you in the Ulysses Discord? I'm going to be horrible to Ulysses, and I'm going to share that invite in this chat so that you all...
can put it up, too.
Oh, he put up an invite to the Discord?
He can put it up, I'm sure, when he gets a chance here.
I'm trying to do it so it pretends like it's illegal. Dang it. Fine, yeah. Go make it official. See if I care. Now it's not sneaky when they get in there.
The Imperial forces beat you to it.
All right. So Admiral Nelson's been pretty active in the Fading Suns Discord channel. So ask him there, because I think a lot of people would like to know more about this. Oh, that's joke stinks, Chainsaw Gothic. For those watching this later, I haven't monkeyed/ganicked with the Pro Roll20 yet.
Yeah, I've done Pro, I've done free stuff, and I'm looking at all sorts of them. You know, there are options out there too.
Wait a minute, but Chainsaw,
everywhere.
You were doing Pathfinder stuff that required Roll20 work, weren't you? And you weren't paying for it. I got you. All right, that's fine. I think Roll20 is a very useful tool and worth supporting. There, I said it. Ulysses isn't even being paid for the advertisement placement. Yeah, they do offer a lot of good stuff for free, thank you. I am a fan. I will admit I'm a fan of Roll20. I don't use their voice channels.
Yeah, those I'm not a fan of. But I've enjoyed Fantasy Encounters, what little I've done with that one's good too. And
excuse me? Oh, right.
Astral looks like it's very promising also. So we got a lot of options out there. And then there's another one I just read about the other day, but what's that one called? Foundry. But I don't know anything about it yet.
For those of you who don't know, Fantasy Encounters was a line of D20 miniatures we put out back in the late 90s at HDI. So
we did, that's right. Pre-painted.
Pre-painted minis.
With D20 system.
Yeah,
we pissed some people off with that one. That was fun.
We do our best. We do our best. Yes, before the question comes up, I don't know what the status is of the Fading Suns minis, except that I love them. And I use the Vorox in every game I can, whether it's Fading Suns or not.
Well, nowadays, you could build your own Fading Suns minis on, Hero.
Printers.
Although they don't have a Vorox yet. They need to get a Vorox. A big, tall Vorox. What's a Hero Forge? You guys are talking about that.
Oh, Phantom of Truth, you never saw the Fading Suns minis? We did them unpainted and painted. Yeah,
there was a line of unpainted ones way, way back. And then we had a set of painted ones that included a Vow Mandarin and a Vorox of all things. Those things are hard to find, though.
Oh, man, our buddies at Noble Knight don't show the minis.
They may be out of them.
Not my Noble Knight, people.
I'm sure if you Google around, you'll find it. Those are, they're old.
I'm only seeing the
unpainted. Time ago. Yep.
I'm not seeing the painted. Oh, well. Well, actually, Bill, you hold down the fort, and I'm going to bring them out for people to see.
Yeah, I'm sure you could Google around and find pictures of them, but yeah, they're long gone. Those guys didn't last. But yeah, there were some initially, I think, was it Ralph Partha who did the unpainted ones way back when he first came out? Because there were some Brother Battle figures, and I'm trying to remember who else. I think there was a Vorox through there too. But yeah, it was a while back, so yeah. And I was just talking to someone the other day about we used to run ads in Knights of the Dinner Table where the knights would play Fading Suns. And I'd really like to try to find some of those to at least put up a link to them so people can see them again. It's been a long. Yep. Let's see. It's still missing system specification. games. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let me know what's going on with that Foundry. It looks really fast. Foundry Virtual Tabletop. It's interesting to see all these new tabletop virtual systems coming out. Everybody's going to have to be using them these days.
Sorry to have left you so long, Bill. I think that I took my painted Fading Suns miniatures to a game and might have left them there. So I'll be showing unpainteds.
Uh-oh.
There's the Vorok.
Ah, yeah, that's the real part of the Vorok. Right.
Yep. There we go.
There's the Brother Battle. Real part of that.
Hawkwood.
I forgot about him. Whoop. People aren't seeing those well because there's a lot of focus.
No, let me hold them back here. Let's see if this works.
Yep. That's the Charioteer, I believe.
Charioteer. Now, this was actually the Brother Battle in my game. Can you see?
Actually, I think that's Theophana.
That's Theophana al-Malik.
Yeah. She was
in the flesh.
Brother Battle, yep.
And finally, the hero of the campaign.
Oh, the Staccatos.
The Staccatos.
Yeah. With his,
talk about a fashion trendsetter.
Oh, that was a great one. Yep.
That disturbed a lot of people. And I found my fantasy encounters as well.
Yeah. That's what
one of them.
The Fading Sunset was similar to that one, except it was Fading Sunset.
And better painted, thank goodness.
Yep. Yeah, I've got one somewhere around. I just don't know where they are. In a box somewhere.
Yeah. Went looking for the rest of them. Yeah, the Noble Armada minis. I mean, I still love the Staccatos Dreadnought as my best spaceship miniature from anybody.
Yeah, that's a good one. A lot of those.
Yeah, finding those old minis is hard now.
Yep. Well, FASA put out some Noble Armada minis too. So, and then one of the things we'll be coming up with on our next rollout of books will be a book of spaceships. So, we'll be able to see some explorers and freighters and raiders and escorts, different models.
Yeah, I agree. The PDF layouts are looking good, Admiral Nelson. You're right. All right, Admiral Nelson. Now I got to see if we can find a spare set of the Fading Suns minis for you. I will dig around.
Truth said he found some archive shots of them. So again, if you Google around, I'm sure you'll find some pictures of them. And yeah, they were metal.
Yep. Yep.
These days, everything's plastic, but hey, they're cheaper.
Yeah, lots of good stuff. All right, we got 5 minutes left. Any other burning questions from people there in chat? That was a fun lot of discussion about characters. Sorry we can't talk about upcoming events. Yeah, I mean, metal minis will always be close to my heart, probably because I ate too much lead as a child. Mm-hmm. No, metal minis are just so much fun. The weight, the details. I mean, there've just been so many great figs over the years that I just adore. And it's so funny. I had these Star Trek figures from the 70s that really look like just blocks of metal more than Star Trek characters. And now the level of ability in minis and detail is just amazing.
I used to use back in high school, to use a lot of the cardboard heroes because we just couldn't afford a ton of minis. But you could buy some of those cardboard heroes, cut those guys out, and set them up pretty quick.
I am an Asggal asks, any thoughts on if we will see rune casting in an upcoming set of books?
You absolutely will. The Voldrock Space Book. It's one of the next big books coming up. It's got a whole section on the rune casting. We take it and do what we did with the occult powers in the new books. There's basically kind of two forms of rune casting. It's the same thing, but one of the groups, the Urdur, the Well of Weird, has kind of standardized rune casting a bit to try to make it safer And so we present some of those power ideas in very standardized rule form, telling you what you can roll and what the resistances are and what the impacts are. But you can still always cast it in a more open-ended, wilder kind of way. The difference there is on a critical miss, there might be some problems.
Problems? A critical miss is an opportunity. Never think of that as a problem.
I think it's an opportunity to turn yourself into stone if you're trying to turn someone else in.
See, an opportunity.
Yep. So yeah, rune castings in the upcoming Voldrak book, which gives you a lot more detail on all the Voldrak nations, character creation for those guys too. There's some new callings for them, including Berserkers and Beast Friends. Beast Friends was a class we had in the Fading Suns D20 book that represented people who bonded with animals, and they're especially more common among Voldrak, though they are known in the known worlds, but you'll be able to play those guys too. And shamans and rune casters. And Ishkin. Ishkin are in the faction book. They were the kind of invisible weasel Wolverine sort of things from Wolf's Lament, but they've made their way onto Hargard, which means they're now part of the known world.
It doesn't mean they're Weasley. He means they're Weasel-like.
They are Weasley, actually. They go around stealing things. They don't really have a sense of property. What's yours and what's theirs.
If you're not afraid of dying, you're not playing hard enough, as Rystar 96. And I also agree with Chainsaw Gothic. A crisis is just an opportunity you haven't met yet.
Yep, there you go. So the Voldrak book that comes out is rune casting and also a lot of interesting clues on where we're going to be heading as we march closer and closer towards War in the Heavens Pantheon.
Phantom of Truth says that I still don't understand how the Ishkin fur works.
Well, I'll have to go into more detail on that. It's a little bit short here. But
that's the entire next Heretical Musings, or join us in Discord after this.
But someone does ask about expanding on Gyarti and all their off-brand occult paths. Well, since the Voldrak Erdgeist uses the same, in a sense, spells of sorts for Gyarti, they are all detailed in the Voldrak Space book. So if you want to play a Gyartan, you get a little bit of information on them in the faction book, but then the Voldrak Space book gives you a whole chapter on magic that fits for all the Gyarti paths of Contemplative and Folk Gyarti and so on and so forth. It's all right, cool. Thanks, guys.
I think we are pretty well out of time. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for Ulysses International for setting this up as always on Ulysses Spiel. Yes, I think all characters will be loving that book. Oh, thank you for all your questions, Phantom of Truth. I'm an Asggal Chainsaw. Keep us posted about the Roll20 game. And I might ping you about that in Discord as well. Cheers, everybody. That was good stuff. We'll hang out until Ulysses International turns off the chat. Bill will do a song and dance. I will tell jokes from Chainsaw Gothic's repertoire of
he's still embargo. Sorry.